top 3 experiences we had growing up playing sports.
My number 3, any practice/warm-up shenanigans from any of my high school soccer days.
Those are memories you'll never lose.
Terry McLaurin requests a trade from the Commanders as of like 2 hours ago.
I think it's a power move.
Philly in 3rd.
I think the league figures him out a little bit.
I'm not a hater, bro. Tell me 5 players on the freaking Patriots that are going to do something more than Drake May. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 73 on this July 31st, just one day before August sets in and we get into a little football later in the month and everything with college and football coming back. Before we dive into that, though, we do have a little, I would say jam-packed episode as we're kind of used to here on the pod, but we do have a couple of things that we'll touch on here in the football world and also the soccer world overseas. But before we dive into that, Fezzy boy, what's been going on in our neck of the woods here? A little what's new with us? Happy Gilmore. We kind of wanted to get into that last week, but didn't quite get around to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Speaking of Happy Gilmore, my wife and I, we stayed up till 1 the night that Happy Gilmore 2 came out because she hadn't seen Happy Gilmore 1. So we watched that and then we watched the second one. So we put in a little bit of a late night last Friday, but I really enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2. I know we'll get into that like in a second, but how you doing, Sammy? How things going on over there?
Good. Yeah. Nothing really to report. Just a super normal week. Have a pretty easy day tomorrow at work. So
nice.
Yeah, looking forward to the weekend for sure. Like the cooler weather too. I feel like we always end up talking about the weather, but it's been raining and stuff, so definitely a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be nice this weekend, like down to like 75 in the 70s, but lots and lots of rain this weekend, so probably no golf to be played this weekend.
It's good though. We need it. My lawn needs it.
Oh, we do need it. Yeah, there's a lot of brown spots in my lawn at the moment. So, dude, it thunderstormed really bad last night. Like, the lights flickered, and my wife and we went into literal like PTSD mode because of the hurricane. We were just like, fill the water bottles, charge the phones, get everything charged, get the lights charged, and all that. We were literally like, dude, if this goes out, we're gonna be prepared because I mean. Owen was
always spotty over there, dude.
It always is, man. And Owen was only a month old when the hurricane hit. We talked about it on the pod months ago when it happened, but yeah, dude, that was. I think you guys were the ones that had like, how long was it until you got power back after that?
Yeah, it was like 8 days or something. It was like a week and a half almost.
It was a long time. That's the longest I've ever been without, like, even back in New York, like rural New York, like that's the longest.
It's crazy that was almost a year ago. Like in September, it'll be a year.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, but
gotta beef up that infrastructure over there a little bit.
I guess, man, dude. It flickered and it scared us, so we were just like, oh boy, get ready. Yeah, But yeah, with that being said, you watched Happy Gilmore. Did you have to watch the first one with your wife too? Had she seen the first one?
Yeah. So I told her there was the second one was coming up. She's like, "Oh, I should probably watch the first one." So we got that in a couple days before. So
nice. What do you think of the second one?
I absolutely love the second one.
Same.
Absolutely incredible. I was telling you this before, but I really don't understand all the people that are saying that. You can just dive into Happy Gilmore 2 without the first one. It was like 80% of the jokes were completely reliant on the first one. Like, what are we doing here? I guess they were just talking about like the golfers jokes or what. I don't even know, but I definitely think you needed to watch the first one. But I loved it. I loved like the cram as many celebrity actors and actresses and golfers and football players and all that stuff. I love that they just crammed everybody that they could into every scene. I think I was seeing something that there was like 76 or 77 total like celebrities in there, which I thought was really, really cool. So just getting some of those old legendary guys in there too was super super cool. I think the storyline too was great. Like I feel like a lot of people were hating on it because it's like, oh, it was tacky storyline. I was like, dude, it's Happy Gilmore. Like we're not looking for a super, like we're not looking for Oppenheimer over here or anything
Right.
like that. Like it's supposed to be just kind of this wholesome, kind of dumb humor type vibe, but it's pretty
Exactly.
common in Adam Sandler movies, and I think that they hit it right on the head, and I found myself laughing quite a bit during it, so I loved it.
Yeah, same here. I absolutely enjoyed it. Just it was actually cool cuz I think I telling you this off pod. If I said it on pod, I don't remember. But my wife and I actually stayed up really late that night that it dropped cuz she hadn't watched the first one. So we watched the
You
first
did
one
say
and then
that
we
on the
watched
pod.
I did? Did I say
Yeah,
that?
just now.
Oh my word. I I would say it's late, but it's only 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling here. My short term memory's so off. Anyways, yeah, we stayed up really late watched them back to back, and I think that really helped because I hadn't watched Happy Gilmore in a long time. So kind of
Mm-hmm.
getting that refresh and then being able to go right into the second one and have like all those jokes just like hit harder because you had just watched it the first one
Yeah.
was so funny. I loved honestly the golf cameos were the best part to me. Like all the golfers like
Yeah.
Kepka, Bryson DeChambeau,
Will
really
Zalatoris, bro, his character was great. I loved
so
that.
funny, dude. So funny. The
And
one not because we're like big fans of him, but the Scotty Scheffler jokes, like with him being arrested and stuff,
in jail.
so funny. I
Or
think
at the beginning when he's like, "Oh, not again."
yes, yes.
So
But
funny,
like
dude.
honestly think the best joke for me personally was at the very end of the movie. It was like a end credit scene where like it's Scotty in jail still, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "All right, you ready to come out?" He's like, "Well, what's for lunch tomorrow?" He's like, "Chicken tenders." He's like, "I'll stay one more night." Like it was just so they played on that so well. But like you said, all the cameos of just like these big time like athletes and actors and stuff like that. It was I just again just a great Adam Sandler movie. Like it's gonna be dumb. Like there's
Yeah.
not gonna be
I
much of a
loved his
plot.
kids, dude. His sons,
Yes,
so funny, bro.
so funny,
So funny.
dude. It was. I had a blast watching it. For the people out there that are just like, oh, this is not gonna win an Oscar or nothing. That's not the point. It's an Adam Sandler movie. He's never been in the game to win Oscars. He's been in the game to entertain and make people laugh. So, and that's what he did. So I think it was well executed, well done. Really, really enjoyed it for sure. But
I
with
agree.
that being said, like Sam said, a little bit of a skimpy episode with us still in the dog days of summer. So we decided to add a little bit of a tier talk into this one. Yes, bringing back the tier talk after a fellow, not a fellow, but a listener that tunes in every week to the episode, Thornton Harrison, I believe. I could be getting his name wrong again. Can't remember a name to save my life. But he was calling for the tier talk to come back, and we figured since we didn't have much to talk about this week, we would do a tier talk. This one's going to be a little different. This one is best sports moments, but this is for Sam and I personally. And what spurred this on is I was listening to another podcast, Busting with the Boys. Shout out. Great podcast. Y'all should listen to it. Not family friendly, though. So should be age appropriate if you're going to listen.
We're shouting them out as if we have more
I know. Like
viewers than
they
that.
don't even give it. They have no clue who we are and probably never
No.
will. But they were just talking about growing up playing high school football and just like the camaraderie with your boys and being able to play every Friday night with your boys and just the memories you made. They were saying those were like top tier like moments and like feelings in their life. So we decided to do that. It's gonna be a little bit of a shorter tier talk, top three in our opinion of just the experiences we had growing up playing sports and what we thought were personally the highlights of that. So I will send it over to you, Sammy. Starts off with your number three.
Yeah. My number three was just I put for those of you who don't know, Stallone definitely put me on the spot with this. He's texted me like
I
30 minutes
did.
before the pod. He's like, "Hey, we're doing this tier talk. Like, figure out your stuff." So
That's how
I
it goes.
very well may have if my boys from back home ever listen to it, be like, "Oh, you forgot this" or whatever. It was like I kind of got put on the spot. So my
Yep.
number three though is like any practice / warm up shenanigans from any of my high school soccer days, where it's just you and the boys like just doing some outlandish, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Um, can't mention more than half of the stuff probably that is coming to my mind right now, but if you've ever run on a sports team, you probably know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, man.
just doing stuff behind the coach's back, doing stuff, doesn't even have to be necessarily practice or warm up. Just that those times on the bus when it's just, you got 3 hours or whatever. It's just, stuff like that. It's just, it brings out the best, I guess. And I'm not doing a good job of explaining it if you haven't been on a sports team, but just that camaraderie and all the different funny things that you'll never really forget in practice and warm-ups were definitely my favorite thing. It's really the thing that I miss the most. I hear
Right.
that even the football guys, when they retire, they're like, "Oh, you miss those times and the times with the guys more than you actually do playing." And I kind of relate to that just a little bit as well. So, yeah, that's my number 3. What about yours?
Nice, nice. That's a solid number 3 for sure, dude. Just hanging out with your boys, man. Like your
Yeah.
best friends that you'll ever have in your life, like in high school, just playing sports together, doing whatever, like that. Those are memories you'll never lose
Yeah.
for sure.
I wish I had a
All
good
right,
story to pair with that, but again, probably
too.
shouldn't. Yeah, family
Probably
friendly,
shouldn't
family
say.
friendly.
Yeah, probably shouldn't say, and probably too many to count for sure.
Yeah.
Um, all right, my number 3. I'm gonna go winning a penalty shootout. So in high school, one of our playoff games went to a penalty shootout, and this was the first penalty shootout I've had ever been a part of. And when I tell you, I was literally just like shaking walking up to take my penalty. But that's not the reason I put this down.
Everyone
Um,
remembers their first pen
dude,
ever.
I remember mine. The keeper dove the right way, and I snuck it right past him. I put it where I wanted to, but
Nice.
he guessed the right way, and he
Yeah.
almost got it. But luckily he didn't. It went down to all 5 scored, and then it came down to sudden death, and we ended up winning. But the moment when you're sitting there and you're just like linked arms, standing in the line, and you watch your buddy go up and he slots in the winning penalty and you just take off
Yeah.
running. Like the adrenaline that hits your system is just
Mhm.
insane. And I just remember like that feeling was just so cool cuz like we were I think like a 2 playing a 3 seed and
Hmm.
like they really gave us a run for our money. Like we had like 0 chances. They held us to like I think like 3 shots on goal the whole game. And yeah, we ended up, going to Penn 0-0 because we played extra time and still 0-0 after that. And yeah, I just remember that moment.
And nobody can
Um,
score. Just
yeah,
kidding.
dude, little Christian League soccer, dude. The level is not quite that high, but the penalty shootout was crazy. And I remember our friend Peter, he was our captain, and he was just telling me like, dude, just go up, slot it, just don't think about it. And I was like, that's all I did, slotted it. And then our buddy took us home and won it for us. So pretty cool moment. I won't
Obviously, you
forget
guys
that for a
have some
while.
guys that can score if you're making all 5 pens, so pretty good.
That's, I mean, when it's 1-on-1 with the keeper, I hope we should score.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, right.
But anyways, all right, Sammy, you're number 2.
All right, my number 2. For those of you who know me, you would probably expect all of these to be soccer moments, but I'm actually going to bring basketball into it.
Ayo.
Never been a great basketball player. Like to think that I'm getting progressively a little bit better as I get older, but had a time in college where it was obviously not, college basketball or anything, but it was for intramurals. So the way that it was set up is that there's an A league and a B league. So each, I guess you call them fraternities or whatever. That's kind of the equivalent that we had at our Christian university. You could sign up in the A league or the B league. Most of the bigger quote unquote fraternities would sign up in the A league, but there's also a B league for a lot of teams that just didn't want to really try that hard or just didn't take it as seriously as others. Well, me and several of my friends who were definitely A league level players decided to sign up a B league team in the B league and just kind of have fun, horse around, like just basically destroy everybody. And it was basically me and like 4 or 5 of my good friends that were
That's
in
funny.
school at the same time as me. And again, like I said, like 3 of them were like A league level players. So we dropped down to the league and just started killing everybody by 30 and 35 points. I still remember there was this one kid that was one of my friends. He was like 6'4", I want to say 6'5", something like that.
Dang,
And I
bro.
have a video of me throwing an alley oop to him, and it
Oh
was
my
it was kind of an
gosh.
awkward video, but it was still kind of cool. Like he was the only guy dunking, and like yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
In the
great time.
B
We had
League.
jerseys, custom jerseys, our name on the back and
That's
everything.
dope.
We would just pull up to like every game and just like destroy everybody. And then in a championship, I'm pretty sure that we had more people because we started to like gain traction around campus that we were doing this. We had like an
Yeah.
Instagram account. One of our buddies would like record stuff and post it on there.
That's
So when we
lit.
got to the championship, we actually played a team that we actually had to try against. But we
Oh
still
no.
ended up winning. But like I'm pretty sure we
Nice.
had more people in the stands for our game than like the A League championship game.
That's
Like I may
so
be
funny.
having that wrong just a little bit, but it was pretty close. So it was pretty like all your friends are up there and everything. And I
Yeah.
remember I scored like one basket the whole championship game, but it was like me and this other kid that was like he's actually one of my good friends now, but
Mm-hmm.
we were like by far the worst players on the team. And everybody had scored, and then I had scored, and then everybody was trying to like get this other dude to score one more point. And I don't think he ever scored, but everybody was just like every time you'd have the ball, like wanting him to shoot and stuff, and it was a crazy time.
That's
So
awesome.
got that ring though, got that championship
Yes,
though. So
sir. Got that chip. Got
and
that
that B
chip.
league. I always
Dude.
I always tease Peter because we have the same amount of basketball and intramural championships at Bob Jones. But
That's
yeah,
so
he
funny,
stayed in
dude.
the A League though the whole time. So yeah,
Peter did?
he did. Yeah, he wasn't
Oh
a
my
part of our
word.
scrubs and dubs, but I
What?
still
That's
tease him
ridiculous.
because
Of course. Of
I
course.
still tease him because obviously my championships in the B League, but
Right. Dude,
it's
you were having
equivalent,
way
right?
more fun. You were having way more fun, dude.
For
That's
sure. He
awesome,
was
dude.
mad that year because two of the guys that were on our team were like A League level players for like the Cavs, his
And
team.
should have played for the
So
A League, but
yeah,
decided to play
dude,
for this. Dude,
100%.
let's go.
So he was,
Let's go.
and they were contenders for sure. And because of
Yeah.
that, they kind of fell short in the A League.
Oh
So
no. Oh, that sounds like something Peter would be upset about. But we love you, Pete. We love you, Pete. But sometimes you just gotta have fun. Can't just always compete. All right. That's a good number two. I like that. Like your college boys just having fun in intramurals, dude.
yeah, dude.
I did go to college, but I only went for like 2 years and I didn't play intramurals or anything like that. So I
Oh,
kind of missed out on that.
and one more thing, like 2 years later, they decided to like ban creating your own team basically because of us and because we just ran the table in the B League. So
I mean, when you're just
it's
that
pretty
good,
wild.
they make rules around you. I mean,
That's what I'm saying, dude.
that's legendary status there, man. That's
So funny.
awesome. That's
So
awesome.
funny.
That's lit. That's a good number two. I'm gonna keep it basketball for my number two as well. I'm gonna put rivalry game in. This one's a little bit of an explanation because I put rivalry game because it was like, it had to be kind of a generic moment. But there's one moment specifically that I'm thinking of, and it was my sophomore year in high school. We were kind of like this up and coming team because we were playing a bunch of freshmen and sophomores because like my class was just like loaded with athletes. We just had like a bunch of kids come into school around 8th grade and we just kind of grew up together playing basketball. And we went to this tournament at the end of the year, which is kind of like our March Madness. It's like a few teams from the different Christian school leagues in the New York and Pennsylvania area. And we went there and no one really expected us to do anything. I think we came in like fifth out of 12 that year. So we definitely punched above our weight, but we ended up playing the school that hosted it. And they were actually like really good. They had fallen short to a couple of other good teams. So they ended up coming down to the fourth and fifth place or the fifth and sixth place game. And we were playing them and no one liked them. No one liked the team that was hosting because they had this one kid he was good, but super cocky. So the whole entire gym,
Was it Noah?
except
No, I'm
for
just kidding. Just kidding.
so every other fan base of of the teams that were there were rooting for us, except for obviously the fan base of this team we were playing. So everyone was pulling for these little freshmen and sophomores to knock off like these juniors and seniors on their home court. And anyways, it ended up being one of like probably the best game of the tournament. I remember specifically Micah Ploss, one of our friends we talk about here every so often. He went up and he got fouled and he laid it up and the ball literally sat on the rim. In the moment, it felt like 10 minutes, but like the gym went silent. like you could literally hear a pin drop, and then it went in, and this was to tie the game, and the whole gym just erupted, and I could literally not hear myself yelling in the gym, and it was like one of the coolest feelings ever. Like this rivalry, like David versus Goliath type of like moment in sports. And I just remember that game was like, it was super, super hype. Micah hit the free throw to tie the game. We ended up winning on a buzzer beater. We took one shot, and the other team came down with the rebound, and one of our guys stripped that guy and laid it up really quick at the buzzer. We ended up winning by 1 point. And so it was a super
that
cool.
That guy sold so hard.
He did. He actually played soccer. So like obviously it's small school, so everyone plays both sports. Most people do that in high school. We saw him, and I saw him in the All-Star game the next year. And I walked up to him and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, remember that Caden Cortland game last year?" He's like, "I don't want to talk about that."
You're trash talking.
I was, dude. I was letting him know. But that was one of the cool moments. But just like a rivalry game, gets the blood pumping, gets the adrenaline flowing. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Solid stuff. Yeah, obviously I'm not going to be on my high horse because I'd talk my fair bit of trash too. But like I was always that player though, that I was like right on the line. I was like, I knew how much I could get away with.
Right.
And like I was like, I wouldn't just be out there like jabbering the whole time. Like I would pick my moments where like he was in a vulnerable position, or like he would talk, and then like something would happen that was like good for me. Like I don't know, break his ankles, or we would score or something, and then I would talk.
Right.
Like I was
yeah.
Dude. But
Sammy boy getting chippy.
Yeah.
Love
it. Yeah. My number 1 is, I guess, kind of similar to yours, just as far as like hype and stuff. But like there's a couple times, at least once or twice I did it in high school, but I've also just experienced it a couple times. Just scoring a last minute either winner or goal to tie is just like an incredible feeling. Not even just yourself scoring, but just having that feeling where you're down or you're tied and you score in either the last minute or in like overtime is just an incredible feeling. Like I remember there's only been 2 times where I've screamed so loud I've almost blacked out. And it's been during moments like that where just adrenaline's pumping. You got, people on the sideline just going crazy and stuff. Like you're not really supposed to win. So one of the moments I remember was high school was a rivalry game. There's kind of some like 2 or 3 seed kind of situation. I scored like an outside of the box like curler to win, and that was pretty incredible. And then another one I remember, it was actually in college, it was intramural, but it was playoffs, so there was a lot of people there, and we had just scraped into the playoffs. We were playing like the best team. They hadn't conceded a goal all year.
Oh my
word! We ended up like taking the lead through somebody. I can still see it from my vantage point because I was playing midfield. I was behind the striker, and he just we just like lofted the ball up there. He scored, and like I remember like being like yelling so loud I almost like I went fuzzy. I was like, "What is going on right now?" And it was kind of like your situation where like everybody didn't like this other team. Everybody was on our side, so like the whole sideline's going nuts. So just those times where like the adrenaline is just it's pumping. It's just the pumping. So that would be my number 1. Is I guess it's a couple of different things. It's not just one isolated incident, but you can't beat those feelings for sure. So.
Dude, there's just something about like in sports, like walk-off moments, like a walk-off home run, a buzzer beater, a screamer to win the game, like just a goal to like in stoppage time that you're gonna win. Like those moments are like honestly why we play and watch sports. Like those are the crazy.
And I feel like
crazy moments. Yeah.
Going back to your number 2, like for basketball especially, like no matter what the level is, if you have a decent amount of people at the game that are like invested in the game and will react to what's happening on the game, even if it's a little bit over the top, it automatically makes it like just a super lit game. Like when Bob Jones would take a group of students down to Pensacola to root on the basketball team, like our like crew of like 50 students were getting hype. So it made the game hype. Like it's just basketball is one of those things where it doesn't take a lot to like really get people amped up and get people going. So it sounds like
Right.
that's kind of what happened at that rivalry game too. Like little Christian school league, but like, you get
Right.
a gym full of people that are invested in the game that want the other
Yeah.
team to lose or whatever. Recipe for success. So
Yeah, and that's just the beauty of of high school sports for sure. Like again, back to busting with the boys. That's what they were talking about. Like even though because they both grew up in like small town America, obviously,
mm-hmm.
went to tiny little high schools, which were definitely bigger than the high school I went to. But just like they said, like when you have people pulling for you and people invested in it, like on game night when people are coming to watch you, like you are the main attraction in that town for that night. And like just that moment makes it, and that feeling just makes it so much like more better, and like just it's just so cool to feel those emotions in that moment. Like there's really nothing that can top that, in my opinion. But that's a solid number one, like a screamer to win the game, last minute screamer. That's awesome. My number one, I'm just gonna go locker room after a win. I also
Yeah.
put in a sub note here. We had a song that we played after every win, whenever we won. Not after every win, but like a major win, like when we won a tournament or we won the championship. Um, I think it was my sophomore year we won the league, and we played this song. I think there's a video. I might put it on up here so people can watch it, but there's a video floating around of us in the locker room shower just blasting this song. But have you ever heard this song, Shipping Off the Boston? Like just
Nah.
like this kind of like metal screamo, like rock, like, but it's like an Irish rock song. So there's like bagpipes and stuff. It's like a little like Irish jig, but like heavy metal. It's funny. What, I'll have to have you listen to it. But just like the moments in the locker room, kind of like what you were saying, like with your number three, just the
Yeah.
shenanigans
Yeah.
that you got into with your friends, like those
Just
moments.
any big win, dude. Oh
Yeah,
man.
dude, just feeling on top of your small world in that moment was just
Yeah.
like one of the best feelings. And like, you just got to purely enjoy it because like you had no responsibilities. You're in friggin' high school. Like this is the
Right.
coolest thing that's ever happened to you. And like,
Yeah.
just living in that moment. Such a great feeling. High school sports, slept on, man. Slept on for
Yeah, I
sure.
totally agree. And this isn't even really like high school, but I remember at our camp in Romania, we used to have a big soccer tournament. And I was I was young. I wasn't even in high school. I was probably 11 or 12. And my team ended up winning the championship, and it was like a huge deal, like because it was kind of my first like taste of like tournament style kind of stuff. I remember
Mm-hmm.
my whole team, like we went to like our dorm or whatever, and we're like taking off our shirts and like waving them around, like
Let's
singing
go.
like "Campeón,"
Yeah,
like it's just so lit. So
dude,
I lost
I
my
love
voice.
that.
I remember that night because I was screaming so loud.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so funny.
Oh my word, that's
But
so
good
funny.
times,
That's so
man.
funny.
Good
That's
times.
awesome. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit of our tier talk. We did three just so it wouldn't run long, but it ended up running long like always.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, we might do some of these in the future. But we do have football and everything starting up here soon, so we'll have plenty to talk about in the coming months. But with that being said, let's get into the episode.
Alrighty, with football right around the corner, we have just one, I guess, news article here that we'll get into coming down from the Commanders, and we'll give our predictions here for the NFL season, kind of similar to what we were doing with the schedule and everything, but we're going to predict the entire NFL standings and everything. I don't think we'll go in the playoffs this episode. We'll just predict kind of who's going to be rounding out the standings and everything. But before we get into that. Terry McLaurin requests a trade from the Commanders as of like 2 hours ago, basically. Obviously, there was some, I guess, estranged contract talks and everything. I think he's actually been holding out a little bit from training camp over in Washington and everything, and he officially requests a trade. Not gonna lie, when I first saw this come through on my phone, I was like, "Why are you requesting a trade from the Commander? Like, you've been there the longest out of basically anyone, and now that they're
Right.
finally good, they're finally a destination for free agents. They're finally like maybe gonna make that next step. That's when you kind of disagree about contract and you want out ultimately. Like, that's a wild
Yeah.
time to ask out if I was him. But what's your initial reaction here about Terry McLaurin one out?
when I first saw this, I was just thinking like this is definitely like a negotiation move because kind of like what you were saying, like why would you want out? You finally have a good quarterback. You guys went to the conference championship game last season, like when no one had you even being anywhere that good. Um, I can see someone trying to capitalize on a good season because like what you kind of alluded to, like all these years of being like horrible and bad quarterback play and just like I guess not being able to reach your full potential because the guy getting you the ball isn't very good, and then you have one good season with a really good quarterback and you're just like, all right, I got to go try to get this money because this might not happen again because you've seen the other side of the coin where it's terrible. So I can't blame him for wanting to get his money, but like requesting a trade I just think is just kind of a power move because I don't see him leaving because Washington's good. Like why would you want to go somewhere where you're just going to repeat the last few years without Jaden Daniels, with bad quarterback play? Because I see here you have like, I mean, if you went to the Chiefs, that'd be different. But like Colts and Jets, like their quarterback play ain't any better than where you are. But I mean, obviously, if it ends up with the Chiefs, you could win a Super Bowl. But I think it's a
Yeah.
power move in my personal opinion. But I'm not totally sure.
It does feel like a little bit of a power move, but more often than not, I think when players are trying to do that, there's not really that much of a market for them. Whereas I think the market for Terry McLaurin would be a pretty hot one. I think a lot of
Right.
teams in the NFL would want him and would try to make the trade for him, and it might end up backfiring on Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
So that's not something that he would want, I don't think, necessarily, if he is trying to hold out for the power move. And then obviously, I don't think it works out for Washington either. I think he's a big piece of what they have over there, and he's kind of instrumental to them taking that next step. Obviously, he's a big reason that they took that step with Jaden Daniels last year. But he's been
Right.
there since 2019. So, like you were saying, he's only kind of known the bottom of the NFL as far as the standards are concerned. And now that he finally has a good team, it's just a weird thing that he would want out. So I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that it's just kind of a power move, maybe. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big time power move and a risky one at that, I'd say. Because I mean,
Yeah.
there are a couple teams reportedly, interested, and as far as we know right now, I think it's the Colts, Chiefs, and the Jets. And like you were saying, Colts and Jets, like you don't want to trade the Commanders for that. Like if the Chiefs
No.
works out, maybe, but the Chiefs aren't really ones to necessarily go out there and trade for the big time name or anything like
Yeah,
that.
they
Even
they
though
won't pay what he's looking to try to get. Like,
exactly. So I don't think the Chiefs is as realistic. But Colts and like you don't want to trade the Commanders for the Colts or the Jets. So
dude,
um,
there's no way.
yeah, we'll see if he gets traded at all. But yeah, big time news coming out of Washington for sure. Just with that news coming down, we'll see if he's going to be on the move or if he's going to be staying at the Washington Commanders for the foreseeable future. He is going to be 20. He'll be 30 by the time the season starts. So if
A
he's
little
trying to
older.
get that last that contract, it'll likely be his last, just because 2 or 3 years from now, receivers start to be on the down low. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably be his last contract. So he's trying to make it a good one. So kind of understandable there. But um, yeah, that's kind of really the only news going on in the NFL right now. I guess we'll just kind of dive right into the NFL predictions here really quick. Like I said, we're just going to run through the standings here really quick and try to predict what we think is going to happen. Obviously, that hasn't gone too great for us in the past, but we're going to do it anyway because it's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the preseason actually starts tonight. There's a Hall of Fame game that I did not watch 2 seconds of.
Nope.
So I probably won't be watching too much of the preseason unless I catch the Cowboys on for whatever reason. But
Right.
so yeah, we do have the season right around the corner. So Fezzy boy, let's get into little predictions here. Let's start AFC East. Bills,
AFC
Dolphins,
East.
Patriots, and Jets. Who do you got in this one, and in what order?
In what order? Oh boy. This one's gonna be hard. I haven't taken a look at this again. I'm like slowly getting into the NFL mode, mainly trying to figure out my freaking fantasy team before fantasy shows up. We'll
I've
have
not
to.
looked at that at all, dude.
Yeah, it's obviously not getting that close, but we'll definitely do a little bit of a fantasy preview of our teams, anyways, because we're usually in at least two or three leagues apiece. But with that being said, so are we picking like who we think we're good, like who are going to make the playoffs out of these, or are we just like picking like who's going to win it and then like go down the order in the division?
So you can mention if you want who you think is going to make it into the playoffs, but for now we'll just rank 1 through 4 each division,
Gotcha.
starting
All
with
right,
the
I'll
AFC
just go one
East.
through four. Keep it simple and kind of keep it moving since we took
We can
long
do the
in the
playoffs
intro.
maybe next week.
Sounds good. All right. AFC East. This one's a little easy. Number one is definitely easy. Buffalo wins this by a mile. Not even close. I mean, Peter was giving us a little flack about New England. Obviously, they will be better with their head coach and Drake May taking a step.
Will they
But
though?
but obviously Buffalo won. Kind of a toss up between New York and New England for two. I'm really not high on Miami at all. They've just shown that they're flash in the pan. They're all show and really, really nothing to show for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb for our boy Peter. I think the Patriots come in second in this division, the Jets, and then
Do they
Miami.
make the playoffs though?
Do they make the playoffs? So how's it work? This is also why I was just gonna do this. Is it the top two make it out? It's possible that three can, based on
No. So
record, right?
if you win the division, you're automatically in the playoffs no matter what.
Right.
You host a game. And then after that, it's completely off wild card. So
Gotcha.
it's
Okay.
best second place team, I guess if you want to say it that way. Second or third after that. So they're all
Depending on
fighting
how
for the
big of a
wild card
jump,
spots.
yeah, depending on how big of a jump Drake May makes, that determines if they make the playoffs. So I guess with my rankings right now, I kind of see them getting in the playoffs. But again, we'll go more in depth with this in the coming episodes.
Yeah, sounds
Do you,
like Peter convinced you today in our discussion. That's what I'm hearing
honestly, I
right
wasn't
now.
reading a whole lot of what he was saying. I was just like, what are you
For
saying,
those
bro?
of you who don't know, we have a group chat with Peter and Jared, our good buddies that come on the podcast sometimes. And we got into it about football today because they felt like their teams were disrespected on the pod. We obviously
And
had
they,
some choice words for
yeah,
both the Patriots and the Vikings. So Peter
some
was just kind of
wild
going,
stuff.
yeah, Peter was going into how he thinks the Patriots are going to be borderline playoffs this year and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But we're gonna have them probably on the pod sometime between now and the beginning of the NFL season, so they can spew their propaganda if they would like. So,
Yes, sir.
my prediction for AFC East Bills, I think it's kind of a no brainer on that one, as long as Josh Allen doesn't get injured or something. I'm
Right.
actually gonna go Jets number 2. I'm a believer in
Really?
Justin Fields being being given the reins over there. Huge if they get Terry McLaurin, bro. Put him on the other
Dude,
side with Garrett Wilson. I could see that being a
that
really
would.
saucy combo there. I think their defense has gotten better. They still have good players. I just think that they kind of lost maybe some motivation and everything second half of last year. I think they still have the potential to be dangerous. I got them at coming number 2. 3 and 4, I could really see either the Dolphins or the Patriots. I'm going to give it to the Dolphins. I think they win enough games. I think they win enough games to like be third or whatever. Don't care. And then the Patriots, I'm just not a believer in the Patriots, bro. Peter, whatever. Peter thinks I'm like hating on the Patriots for like no reason. I literally said on the pod, I like Vrabel a lot. I like Drake May. I'm not a believer in Stephon Diggs coming off Achilles or whatever he had. Big time injury, 32-year-old wide receiver. I understand he has the potential. Not seeing it so far. We'll see how the first couple games look. They do have an easier schedule. I'll give them that. But it doesn't really matter. Third or fourth, you're probably still not making the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter that much. But
I didn't strike you as a hater, jeepers, man.
I'm not a hater, bro. I just tell me 5 players on the freaking Patriots that are going to do something more than Drake May. Tell me 5.
I'm not even trying to defend Peter at this point. You don't think Vrabel gets them over Miami in that division?
I mean, maybe he gets them above Miami, but I don't think he gets them in the top 2 in the division. That's really what's an important part. It doesn't matter if they come in third in the division. Like, if you're not getting above the Jets or the Bills.
That just felt like you were making a point. That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm reiterating my point from last week. Just because it gets people's feelings a little hurt. It's not my fault. I do like their running back that they took, Travion Henderson from Ohio State. I wanted him on the Cowboys really bad. I'm not sure if he'll start or not behind Ramondre Stevenson, but he could have a breakout year. But I will give him that. True. And again, like I said on the last podcast too, it may be just that I'm not familiar with like the Patriots defense. They may have some sneaky good signings, but I'm not going to back down just because my friend's a fan of the team. So and again, I'm not coming at this as like my team's the best because the Cowboys to Peter's point in the group chat, we literally could be 14-3 or 3-14 this year. So we'll
That's
get
true.
to us in a second. So,
I
but
feel
yeah,
like
we'll leave
honestly,
that. Go ahead.
yeah. I feel like honestly, us four collectively, like with our fandoms, like our podcast would be like really interesting just to talk about our
I
teams.
totally
Cause
agree.
like you got the Patriots and like no one knows what they're gonna be. You got the Cowboys, no one knows what they're gonna be. You got the freaking Steelers, who everyone's just like, yeah, they'll be over 500, but other than that, we don't know what they're gonna be. They
It
got
really is
Minnesota.
50-50 with all four of our
All of
teams.
our
So
teams are just so unknown. Like new quarterbacks coming back from injury. Like it's
rookies.
wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
rookies and
So
stuff like that.
like half of us are gonna look maybe like geniuses, and the other half are just gonna look dumb. So
Yeah,
depending on
it's
which way
just
you want to roll with it with your team. So,
right,
but
exactly.
anyway,
And
I
none of our teams
digress.
are winning the Super Bowl. So,
Hey, you never know. You never know. Steelers, right?
anyways, moving
AFC
on.
North. AFC
Yeah,
North. Speaking of the Steelers, we got Bengals, Browns, Steelers, and Ravens. Who you got
yes,
in this
sir, yes, sir.
loaded division here?
All right, here we go. Obviously, you guys know I'm a fan of the Steelers by now. If you don't, you guys aren't listening to the podcast, so you guys should do that. But I'm going to go Baltimore winning this division. Obviously, I'm not going to go with my heart. I'm going to actually think through this. Baltimore wins the division. I'm going to go Steelers in second because I really don't believe in Cleveland, and I think the Bengals, with all their contract situations and everything, they can't even retain their best defensive player right now, and their defense was atrocious last year. So I still believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, they're going to be above 500. We all know that. That's done, signed, ready to go, and we're just moving along with that. So Baltimore, Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Cincinnati just because they got Joe Burrow, and then Cleveland. Again, I've been on the podcast saying it. They're going to be the worst team in the league. So I don't even know if they're going to win a game.
How's that even a question? It's Cincy and Cleveland at the bottom. Like obviously it's Cleveland.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you actually on all four of those. I think Baltimore wins the division. I wouldn't say easily though. There's a couple games in there that could be tricky.
They always
for them.
split with the Steelers.
Always split, and they seemingly always split with the Bengals. So, but I do have the Steelers coming in second as well, just because Cincinnati, bro. I just feel like they always start out super slow.
Mm-hmm.
They started out detrimentally slow last year, where they were like 1-5 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow always seems to come into the season with an injury. He had MVP numbers last year, but just so much other stuff going on. Jamar Chase not being able to stay healthy. T. Higgins in and out of the lineup. Their defense is always atrocious for some reason. Like you said, all their contract situations. It's just wild. I did actually see something pretty wild this past week. Is like questioning Joe Burrow. It's like if he has another bad season, like are we going to start talking about him and his fault and everything? But like I said, he had absolutely insane numbers last year. So
but I was going to say they're not bad seasons. Their defense, like he's literally keeping them in games, scoring like 50 a game.
Yeah, exactly. So
he's hurt.
If their defense is even just 20% better than it was last season, I feel like they're going to be a good team. But I'm until I see something a little bit better, I'll still have them in third. And then Cleveland, like you said, worst team in the league. Probably I'd be so shocked if they win more than 3 games. So, yeah, pretty loaded division though. It's always exciting to see what the AFC North is like. And I am a believer in the Steelers this year with Tomlin. I don't know if you guys remember on our last episode with Jared and Pete, we kind of got into it on the whole Tomlin thing about whether he should go, whether he should stay. I was kind of on the fence where it was like, I don't know, like, why are you just happy with 8-8 every year or whatever?
Right. I'm not.
But I do think that with the talent that he's been able to acquire and the new names that it'll be enough for Tomlin to elevate that squad into at least second in the division. At least I hope. So, moving on to the AFC South. This one's a pretty pretty disappointing little division here. Sorry, Micah, but Titans, Colts, Jags, and Texans. Yeah, you got in this one.
Colts. No, I'm kidding. No. Obviously Houston. They've just shown that they're the best team in this division. Obviously with the best quarterback at the moment. I know everyone's pretty high on Trevor Lawrence still, but we haven't seen anything other than that crazy comeback winning that playoff game. What was that, like 3 years ago now? Against the Chargers. Really doesn't have much to show for his career at this point. So I'm going to go Houston number 1, and then obviously the rest of the division, not quite a toss-up. I think Jacksonville comes in second, even with a new coach. I can't trust a team, one with a rookie quarterback that I'm not sure about. Can't trust that. But then a team that is like their QB competition is a guy that took himself off the field last season because he was tired, and a guy that got cut and wasn't good enough to play for the freaking Giants. So it's kind of hard for
Well,
me
did
to
you see
trust
Will
them.
Levis is going to be out for like a long
I
time
did
because he
see
got
that. Yeah.
surgery, so he's not even
Yeah.
really in the picture, really.
That's all a play, bro. He was going to ride the bench behind Cam Ward, and everyone
Yeah,
knew it. And so he's just saving his ego because they drafted him out of, what was he from? Kentucky? Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Kentucky
drafted him out
boy.
of Kentucky. Like, dude's been bad ever since he's gotten to the league. I think his low
Yeah, his
light
tape
reel
has
is
not been
longer than his
stellar in the
highlight
league.
reel.
Yeah,
So
probably.
bad, so bad. But anyways, yeah, I got Houston, Jacksonville. This is where it gets. I don't know. I'm gonna believe in Cam Ward just over the Colts. I'm gonna go Titans, and then I think the Colts come in last in this division.
Well, this is boring because I feel like we agree way too much on this stuff.
We do, man. That's why no
Texans.
one watches.
Yeah, true. Some of this stuff is pretty cut and dry, though. Like this
Yeah, it
division's
is. Like these
pretty.
divisions are. Yeah.
Texans number one, pretty self-explanatory. Even though I do think that they might not quite be as good as they were last year because they lost a couple of pieces. But I do think that they drafted well. And again, this division's pretty easy, so I think they get they win the division there. I am going to go Jacksonville in second again. I'm still a believer in Trevor Lawrence. I think all that good stuff that he showed, in college. They were talking about him being generational. Obviously, they're wrong a lot of the time. We talked about that quite a bit on the pod as well. But I just think that he's shown flashes of like if he can put a full season of being completely healthy together. Because I feel like every time week 3 or 4 he gets like a concussion or something, he's deal with it the rest of the season. And then somebody goes down on his wide receiving core, and then his offensive line sucks and all this stuff. So if he could put together one solid season, I think they could actually be decent. So I'll put them in second. Titans third. I think the Titans they have quite a few. Like Tyler Lockett just went there from Seattle. Tony Pollard is going into his second season now on the Titans, coming from the Cowboys. I wasn't quite as high on him once he decided to leave the Cowboys, just because he was better as like a second back than a first one. But I think he still could be a decent player. And then Cam Ward is just, I mean, he's got all the potential in the world to really do something special. So they're third for now, just because they don't really have enough to really compete for that division right now. But keep an eye on them and going into 2 years from now too. And the Colts last, just because I mean they just don't really have much going for them. I feel like their quarterback situation is still up for grabs. Anthony Richardson, like he's just every time he steps foot on the field, he's hurt, and then he wants off because he's tired and blah blah blah. So just not a lot going on for
And
the
Daniel
Indianapolis
Jones
Colts
ain't doing crap.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. Yeah, no, yeah. Homeboy looks scared every time he's under center. So, moving on to the AFC West: Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, and Chargers. This one should be a little bit of a better fight, a little bit more interesting fight this year than years past. But who you got winning this one?
All right, this is the best coached division in all of football at the moment with Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, Harbaugh, and Andy Reid. This is a loaded coaching division.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like all Hall of
Yeah,
Famers at this point.
It makes them all like have a chance. I feel like in the
Yeah,
league.
so this is probably the first division where it's not really cut and dry. Can't bet against the Chiefs. Just proven. I don't sports bet, but I would never bet against the Chiefs at all. So they're gonna win this division. This is where it gets a little tricky. I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm a huge believer in Harbaugh in year 2, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Harbaugh second, just because I think he has the better quarterback. Bo Nix will make a jump, but obviously he's not as good as forgot his name. Always friggin' names. Chargers quarterback, friggin' Herbert. Justin Herbert came to me. All right, Chargers. Then we got Denver Broncos, and then I just think Vegas, kind of a rebuild year, figuring things out with Pete Carroll. Definitely high on Ashton Genty, but I don't think he moves the needle in his first year a whole lot. So Raiders coming in last in this division.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs winning as well, just because I mean DNA Chiefs. Like, every time you bet against them,
it's like clockwork.
They're gonna prove you wrong. Yeah, and I still don't think that those other teams are quite as prepared, quite as battle tested as the Chiefs are. I think the Chiefs their receiving core, like everybody talks about how it's bad, but like I think it's like one of the sneakily good wide receiving cores in the league now if everybody's healthy. So
Yeah.
they're going to get Rashee Rice back like after 3 or 4 games probably. So the Chiefs are the Chiefs, so they're going to win that division probably again. Second, I got the Denver Broncos. I absolutely love
Ooh.
what they were doing last year. I think Bo Nix builds on that momentum and everything. They got some good players in free agency. I think they drafted well as well, kind of what I was saying earlier with the Texans. So I got them coming in second. And depending on if the Chiefs, don't win every one possession game that they play this year, they might make it a little close towards the end of the season as well. I got the Chargers in third. I'm really hoping that Justin Herbert can show that he's going to take that next step, but we've been waiting for that next step for 2 or 3 years now, and he hasn't really been able to make it. Is that a product of what's around him? Possibly. He does finally have a decent coach over there that's not this super analytical guy that actually knows what he's doing. So, will he take the next step? Not sure, but until he proves me wrong, I think they're going to be third in that division. Then the Raiders. I love Ashton Genty. I think he might be in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Geno Smith makes things interesting over there, but they still don't have like a solidified wide receiver one. Their best receiver really is Brock Bowers, who was incredible last year. But again, I think when you're just throwing it to only one guy all the time, I think that's going to come back to hurt you unless somebody really just emerges out of there. So I think they're going to be rounding up that division in last place again, unfortunately. But yeah, that'll do it for the AFC conference here. Moving on to the NFC. NFC East, we got my Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Commanders. Another pretty spicy looking division here at the beginning of the year. Who you got?
Yeah, this one's a little bit like weird for me, like with the Terry McLaurin news coming out literally like 4 hours ago at this point. Not totally sure what Washington's going to be. I know they got Debo, but like Debo really came in older than Terry McLaurin. He's
Can't stay
gonna
on the field.
can't stay on the field. Definitely going to be a receiver 2 option. So Terry McLaurin's definitely their number 1. So if they lose him, I'm not sure what their offense looks like. I do believe in Jaden Daniels, but again, it just kind of throws a wrench in the whole thing. Because I was good. If Terry McLaurin's there, I'm going to go Washington to win this division. I think there's some stupid streak in the NFC East that a new different team wins it every year.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's won it back to back since like 93, 4, 5, somewhere in there. So
yeah, something like 20 plus years, something like that. So I'm going to assume Terry McLaurin's there. I'm going to go Washington wins it. Again, this is just a toss up because like if Dallas is good, I actually will take them second. So I'm going to go a little off script here. I'm going to go Washington, Dallas, Eagles, and then obviously the Giants still trying to figure things out. Their coaching staff is literally coaching for their jobs this season. They got Russell Wilson, which I mean, veteran, but like, what's he really going to do? So it'll be
don't
interesting.
Understand why he started. Dude, what kind of dirt does Russell Wilson have on the rest of the league? That as soon as he signs for a team, they just feel like they have to start him no matter who's behind him. Like I don't understand that, bro.
Right. Yeah, he's in some like he's got some dark money going around or something like
stuff
that.
going on.
But yeah, we're gonna go Washington, Dallas, Philly, New York.
Philly in third.
I do have Philly in third. I think the league figures them out a little bit,
bro.
But
you think they're going to be really bad? Or just
no,
I just
think Washington and Dallas. Like I'm banking on Washington obviously being better and having McLaurin. So this one's where I could be totally off just based on a few things. I think Washington's better if they and keep McLaurin. I'm gonna bank on Dallas being better because they just got to be better. And then I think Philly takes a little bit of a step back after coming down from the cloud after winning the Super Bowl. I don't know. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. This one's tricky for me because I feel like it's the division I should know the best, but it's really just like those 3 teams are so 50-50. Like I could see the Eagles like almost easily winning the division again just because their roster's so loaded, but I could also see like the Eagles of 2000, what was last year, 24? Yeah, 24. So the Eagles of 2023 that absolutely imploded with all of those real stars on their team. again, and just being like, kind of lackadaisical and like, not putting up a great year. But again, I could see them winning the division at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with my gut and say that they win it again. I know that goes against
Okay.
everything the division is about.
Wow.
But I just think they're too loaded. They're so annoying, bro. Like they'll be down like the whole game, and
Yeah.
then like they'll be playing like the Jags, and like be down the whole game. You're like, yeah, dude, like get a loss in there. We're
Yeah.
coming. And then they come back in the fourth quarter. They score like 2 touchdowns in 3 minutes. I'm like, what the frick, bro? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
super annoying, but I think they'll probably win the division again. Unfortunately, no idea, dude. Cowboys and Commanders. I really just feel like it's a toss up. I think it'll come down maybe to like who wins the two matchups against each other. If we
Mm-hmm.
split, then it's kind of at a 50-50 again. I'm
Mm.
gonna give it to my Cowboys though, just because what I was seeing second half of last year with our backup quarterback and like subpar defense that was still dealing with injuries. I saw a lot of good things. I'm seeing a lot of good things in training camp. I like how we drafted the holes that we were filled. If we can keep our offensive line healthy, that'll be huge. But I'll give us the slight edge over the Commanders, even though I do think probably if the Eagles win the division, that the Cowboys and the Commanders probably sneak in as 2 wild cards. So we'll have 3
Gotcha.
teams in the playoffs from the NFC East.
Mm.
But I do like the Commanders a lot too. I think they might be poised for that next step, but you never really know. There's been plenty of teams that have had amazing, seasons when they kind of break out and then it just never really gets going the second year. So and then the Giants, I just don't really think they're on the same level as those other 3 teams.
Nah.
Again, I think that they win less than 5 games, probably, even with Russ Wilson. Dude, I would
Wow.
start Jameis over him. I don't know what they're still doing with him. He's
Yeah.
such
I
a
don't know, dude.
he needs to retire, bro. And then I people are split on him, but I would give Dart a chance. If you're halfway through the season, bro, and you don't see much going right, which they'll probably be in that position, I'd give Dart a shot for sure. So
Yeah.
just to see what you got in him. I like him, kind of what he was able to put on tape at Mississippi. So
Right.
but yeah, that's such a wild division. Like
It
that'll be
is.
interesting to watch
It is.
all year. It's really just 50-50 across the board. But
Yeah.
moving on to the
Mhm.
NFC North, we got Bears, Lions, Packers, and Vikings. Who you got in this historic division here?
All right, here we go. Jared, this is your division.
Jared,
Obviously, you
yes.
think that Minnesota's going to the Super Bowl and they're going to ride their Hall of Fame quarterback in JJ McCarthy. So whoop-de-doo. I don't have you winning the division. I'm giving it to the Green Bay Packers. I think loving them. Again, I know Jared was saying it and he'll probably be like, well, you're saying it again. I know we've been saying they're young, they're going to
We
take that
double
step.
down.
We double
Pressure
down. We
does
double
not
down.
affect us.
I think the Green Bay Packers actually take this step this coming season. I think Jordan Love really, really starts playing well. He just needs to clean up some of the mistakes, and he's going to be a fantastic quarterback. The numbers are there. Like, I mean, if he just doesn't throw 3 or 4 interceptions during the season, their record's better. He has some dumb interceptions. I've seen there was some where he's like trying to get it out of bounds while he's getting tackled, and it gets picked off by the defensive lineman, runs it back for a pick six. Just weird, stupid plays. But I got Green Bay winning this division. I'm going to go Detroit. I just believe in their coach. I believe in their quarterback. I know they lost both of their coordinators, but I think they just reload. I mean, I think their quarterback is he's definitely the best quarterback in this division by far. So I just think with the loss of their coordinators that they do take a step back. They dropped some games they probably shouldn't because of that. So I think they come in second. And then I'm going to go Minnesota third. JJ McCarthy, has a decent season, but obviously with this, I guess you could say loaded division, they come in third. And then obviously, I don't know, even if Caleb Williams figures it out, I just don't have a whole lot of trust in Chicago at all. So that's my prediction.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to agree with you, unfortunately. I
Oh
think
my
Green Bay
word.
takes the division. I think this is finally the year where Green Bay can get it done. If Jordan Love can stay on the field, they've got so many receivers over there. I feel like they're almost insulated from the injuries that they suffered last year. Even if a couple guys go down, they still have enough. I really like the receiver they took out of, I think it was Texas. I
Yeah.
really like him a lot. He
Golden.
could be, Golden, Matthew Golden. So he'll be, I think he'll be able to be a contributor from week 1 for them. I think they finally do it, and they're finally able to win the division here for the first time in a little while, I think. So maybe
Yeah.
since Rodgers was over there. I do have Detroit Lions taking a step back. A lot of the similar things that you were saying. I just think they lost a couple. Obviously, they did lose a couple of their coordinators already. I think that affects them quite a bit. Maybe take a step back, similar to what the Eagles did after they lost when they went to the Super Bowl a few years ago and lost, both of their coordinators and everything. They took a step back, kind of had to almost retool a little bit on the coaching staff side. I see the Lions doing that a little bit. Obviously, they suffered from a lot of injuries last year, but I do have them, in second place. I do have them making the playoffs though, probably. So Vikings probably in third, just because again I'm a double down. I'm not a believer in JJ McCarthy.
Nah.
Listen, if he goes out there the first 2 weeks and he's slinging the pill pretty good, I
Sure.
might be starting to be convinced. But you got to show me that he can
We
throw the ball
haven't
farther than 30
seen
yards,
nothing
bro.
yet. That's my big
and my
thing.
thing is
yeah.
Go ahead.
That's just my big thing. Like, no meaningful snaps. This is basically his rookie season coming off of an injury. I believe in KOC, but like KOC does it with he's done it with quarterbacks that have been in the league that have played, like Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, like those quarterbacks that have been around the league. They've been in different systems. And they find their way to KOC where he's like, oh, look at all this tape of what you're doing wrong and I can fix that. But with JJ, it's like you handed the ball off in Michigan and won a national championship. Whoop-de-doo.
Exactly, bro. And he may be able to develop him into a pretty good quarterback. Like, we'll see. But again, he was on Michigan and all he really did was hand the ball off. So I understand that he won the championship, but that doesn't make him a good quarterback. How many, in Alabama's dynasties, how many good NFL quarterbacks did they produce? Very few, until recently with Hurts and, Tua and some of those guys. But
Mac
I remember
Jones.
the first, Mac, exactly. It's a perfect example. The first 3 or 4 championships Saban won, the quarterbacks would literally fall into obscurity because they were not NFL quarterbacks. So just because you win a championship, because you don't have to throw the ball doesn't mean that you're good at throwing the ball, So and again, just because you can throw it in practice, again, what I said last week, I don't think that he's thrown really a meaningful pass since maybe high school. So he was, but yeah,
wow.
Again, I'm open to being wrong. The first 3 weeks he's doing good. Maybe they can scoot up, but until he proves me different. And like I said, he does have Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to, so that's a massive target.
True.
If he can even get that ball in the vicinity, he can do some special things. But he was frustrated last year with Darnold, bro. They would get into big time moments in games. He was getting frustrated because Darnold couldn't get him the ball. You putting a rookie back there now and having him in those situations. But again, Jared, come on the pod and you can defend your boy all you want. But for now, third place. Chicago Bears, rounding out the NFC North. I do think that they can make some noise. If Caleb Williams can focus on football instead of which purse he's bringing to the games, I think he would be in a lot better spot. They do still have a couple good, offensive weapons and everything. I do like their running back. I do like their wide receivers that they have still over there, DJ Moore and company. But I just, again, kind of a loaded division, so it's a little bit unfortunate for them. But they might make some noise and make a couple upsets, make a little bit of a run towards the end of the season, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Moving on to the NFC South, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, and Panthers. A little bit of a poverty division here, but who you got?
All right, got to keep this moving since this has been going a little longer than we thought. Tampa Bay wins it. I think Carolina takes a step. I'm going to go Carolina in second, Atlanta Falcons in third, New Orleans Saints last because,
all right.
No, who's even their quarterback in it? Oh, they just picked up a kid from Louisville, right? Saints. I'm
blanking on his name right now.
Yeah, I am too. That's
don't matter.
Shuck, right? Like Tyler Shook or something like that.
Shaw, I think. Tyler Shaw.
Yeah,
you're
something
right.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they got Spencer Rattler over there too, I think. He sucks,
Saints aren't doing nothing. They haven't been good since Breeze retired and Sean Payton left.
Dude, I feel bad for Alvin Kamara. He's kind of in jail over there, just kind of
I know,
chilling. But
stuck there.
he'll be good in fantasy probably,
Yeah,
so
that's who
pick
I
him
got.
up. But uh, that's good. Yeah, I got the Falcons winning this division actually now.
Really?
Feel like they've kind of been on the cusp for a little while now.
Dang.
Finally figured out their quarterback situation. I think Penix is going to be really good. So obviously have a little bit better of a coaching now. Offensive coordinator's a little bit better going into his second year. I think they finally take the step and they pipped Tampa Bay for the division here. It was really, really close all the way to the end last year. And again, every primetime game that the Falcons had, I felt like they would just choke it away. So I got the Falcons winning. Tampa Bay second. Carolina or the Saints last and third. I don't really care. I think Carolina still sucks. I think Bryce Young's terrible. He's just too
Interesting.
small. He can't even see over his offensive lineman.
This
So,
is true. This is true.
and Saints, same situation. Like, whatever. You guys can battle for third place. You're not making
Yeah.
playoffs anyway. So, last division we have here is NFC West: Rams, Cards, Niners, and Seahawks. Who you got?
All right, I got Rams winning this. Obviously, just well coached, best quarterback in the division. Obviously, in Matthew Stafford. I think they win it pretty easily. I'm gonna go San Francisco. Big bounce back year for them coming up. Brock Purdy's gonna have most of his weapons back. Hopefully, CMC's look pretty good in preseason camp, so hopefully he can stay healthy. Fingers crossed. Then a little bit of a toss up. I'm gonna go. I don't even know, man. I'm trying. Like when it's a toss up, I try to pick between the quarterbacks, but I mean, I'm picking between Kyler Murray in Arizona or Sam Darnold in Seattle. Seattle has a first time head coach, right? Like a new head coach.
No, it's second year.
Second year.
McDonald, I think his name is. Yeah,
See,
second or third, maybe.
I don't know. I really don't believe in any of them. I'm gonna go Arizona. Just gonna go quarterback. Kyler Murray always putting up numbers. So I'm gonna go Arizona in third, Seattle last.
Interesting. Rams first. I think they're the most proven team. They're the most prepared team, I would say. Again, as we mentioned on the podcast before, I feel like they were really just a pass or two away from going to the Super Bowl there against the Eagles. I do have the Seattle Seahawks coming in second place in this division. I think they make a step after getting Darnold and company. I think the coach has just been waiting for a couple solid pieces over there, which I think he has now. I think that they are kind of just like that team that don't have any huge stars, but just are solid, like 8-8 kind of team, kind of like the Steelers have been the last few years. So I think that they make a little bit of a step here and get a little bit better. Even though I'm not a huge believer in Darnold in crunch time, I think that they have enough, and they have a pretty weak schedule as well. So, and then Niners in third. I'm having a hard time believing in the Niners right now, just because signing Purdy means that they've had to obviously let Debo go. Brandon Ayuk is in and out of the lineup even in training camp. They have Jawan Jennings, who is solid, but again, he got hurt last year.
Yeah.
Their team is getting older. George Kittle's getting older. Trent Williams is older. Brock Purdy, I think I've been on the podcast before saying I don't think Brock Purdy is that great. Like, I think he's more of a product of the team around him. Huge prove it year for him. If he's really that great, he's going to have to show us this year. But I think Christian McCaffrey, I really like him. He did wonders for me on my fantasy team the last couple of years, but he's so injury prone at this point and not getting any younger either. So I think that they take a step back as well. Unfortunately, didn't even make the playoffs last year, and they might not make it this year either. And rounding out that division, the Cardinals, I do have. So the Cardinals here, I just don't think they have much. Kyler Murray doesn't move the needle for me.
Right.
He needs to get off Call of Duty. So, but yeah, that'll kind of round out that division and round out the NFL predictions here. So, yeah, throw us a bone in the comments. Tell us if you absolutely hate our rankings, if you like them, what you guys think about certain teams and storylines that we kind of mentioned. Everything we know, Jared and Peter are going to hate our rankings, but again, they'll come on in a couple weeks and they can defend why their teams are going to the Super Bowl. So, But yeah, that'll kind of round out the NFL portion of this podcast. A little long-winded, even though we have absolutely no news to bring you really out of the NFL. But we are excited that it's just a few weeks away here. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get into a little football overseas. So stay tuned. Hopping over the pond as we usually do. Not really for many games here, but we do have a couple more transfers to bring to you guys as just quick reactions here. Kind of rattle off a few here and get Fezzy Boy's input. First one being Luis Diaz from Liverpool to Bayern in a massive $75 million move. That was pretty big just because I wasn't really expecting them to sell any more of their wingers. They're kind of stacked at striker now, but they do have a little bit of a need there at winger. But Luis Diaz to Bayern. Bayern usually don't pay huge sums for their players, so a little bit of a weird one here. But what was your initial reaction when you saw this news come down?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just slot kind of cleaning house at the moment, bringing in players that he initially wanted. Kind of getting rid of players that he inherited after Klopp left. Good move for Bayern. I think they lose Sane? Didn't he go to Galatasaray or something like that? I
Yes, I
think
think you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Sane's went out the door, so obviously had to fill that role on the left hand side. Really, really good winger. How old is Diaz? Like he seemed to like burst on the scene like a few
28,
years ago.
29,
How old?
28, 29, somewhere in there.
28, 29. Okay, so not like super old. Kind of getting to his prime. Great signing for Bayern. Obviously, they don't need too much help to win that league. It's a little bit of a, you know, their league to lose most of the time. But yeah, really, really good signing, and I think it's a good spot for Diaz for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird one, like I said, for Liverpool, just because I felt like, especially after the tragic passing of Diego Jota, they lost some of that depth at
Yeah.
winger. So seeing him leave, but they obviously do have Florian Wirtz coming in, so he's gonna fill. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife, can play anywhere along that front line. So solid move for Diaz to Bayern. So we'll see what kind of trophies he's able to win over there. Um, Osimhen to Galatasaray. Obviously, the big time Napoli man going to Galatasaray and Turkey. Turkey have been really making some big moves. They got
Mm-hmm.
Jose Mourinho with Fenerbahce. They getting a lot of big names over there, and then Galatasaray also getting some big names over there, getting Leroy Sané and now Osimhen in a big time money move from Napoli. So it's kind of a big time coveted striker the last couple years, but finally landing somewhere that you wouldn't really necessarily see as a big time move, even though it might be one of the bigger clubs in Turkey. So, what's your initial reaction on Napoli after winning the league here, getting rid of their striker?
Yeah, kind of interesting to see Osimhen just like he kind of like fell off the face of the earth. He had like that really, really, really good season with Napoli, like extremely good season, and like everybody was trying to get him. I was like Manchester United
Yeah,
were in on him. I know Chelsea was in on him. I think even like Manchester City was looking at him. Obviously couldn't prime away from Napoli. He ends up going on loan to Galatasaray and just I guess liking it there, and then they're obviously now they're buying him. So he hasn't been as productive as he was in that really really good Napoli season. So kind of just an odd one where like a little bit of a flash in the pan, and now he's just kind of making this one would say like a downward move to a smaller league, but great get for the Turkey league for sure.
yeah, for sure. And Galatasaray's front line looks absolutely incredible now with Leroy Sané. They have Mauro Icardi, who's been there a couple years
Oh
now.
wow.
They're getting Victor Osimhen. They have Alvaro Morata, who's there as well. So kind of a
Yeah.
stacked front line there for them. And then Fenerbahce as well. They're kind of wanting Marco Asensio and Martin Skriniar from PSG just signed there. So what do you
Oh
got to say
wow.
about the Turkish here going big?
I mean, yeah, splashing some money, trying to get some players that will really kind of turn that league around. Like you said, they have Jose Mourinho, obviously, so some big name coaching in the league. But I think like they're not getting players that are like necessarily washed. They may be like a little older, but other than that, they're still pretty productive. Not super super old by any means. So good move for the Turkish league for sure.
Yeah, definitely some big time investment coming into the Turkish league. They've always had big clubs over there, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of went through a period where they weren't really investing as much as they are now. So they're going to
Right.
getting some big names for sure. So moving on to more big spenders in the Saudi League and Al Nasser buying Joao Felix from Chelsea. He joins his compatriot Cristiano Ronaldo and Otavio
Mm-hmm.
and all those guys over there to try to lift Al Nasser to a title. What do you got to say about 25-year-old Joao Felix going to Saudi?
I mean, glad to finally get him off the books at Chelsea. I mean, it was just such an odd signing when we brought him in on loan. I believe it was his first game against Fulham, goes off with a red card after like playing super well for us, being super creative, creating good chances for us to score. But after that, couldn't find time on the field. Obviously, we have other players that would play over him. I don't know, kind of. I know this is probably not the end of his career, like you said, he's still young, so time to find another team. But really, just after he left, where did he come from? Benfica.
Yeah,
Um,
originally.
yeah, after he kind of burst on the scene with Benfica, just really never found it. Had a little bit of a good run at Atletico Madrid, fell out of good graces with Simeone there, ended up making a loan move to Chelsea, and then just really never finding a home, never really living up to the major potential that everybody kind of dubbed him with. Like everyone was saying, like, oh, this is the next Portuguese star, the next Ronaldo coming out of Portugal, but never really came to fruition. So maybe he finds his way in the Saudi league and then makes another move to Europe. Who knows? But obviously getting paid very well to play over there with Ronaldo.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of players are now obviously going to Saudi and staying there for a few years to kind of reap the benefits of doing that. But there's a couple of guys that have used the Saudi league as kind of a springboard back into Europe too, like John Duran. I don't know if you remember us talking about him last year. He's on um, Fenerbahce now, so he just used that as kind of a 1 year, kind
Mm-hmm.
of passing through. Jordan Henderson obviously only spent 1 year there before he moved on, so we'll see how long how long he spends in Saudi. He's still only 25. Even just being there a year, you'll make as much as some people do in their whole careers, even if you're
Yeah.
top level player. But yeah, the price tag that he obviously coveted from Benfica when he went to Atletico Madrid, one of the highest ever, at 140 million or something crazy like that. But yeah, never really able to live up to quite the level that everybody expected him to be. Several loan moves, Chelsea. Even spent some time at Barcelona, I think, for like half a
Mm-hmm.
year or something like that. Chelsea,
Yep.
AC Milan, played
Yep.
decently at AC Milan, but they
Mm-hmm.
probably just didn't want to make it permanent because they're not in Europe and maybe didn't have the funds. But I'm hoping to see him kind of bounce back. He's always a player, when he's playing well, he's fun to watch. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the times that that's happening is few and far between. So hopefully he does well going forward, though. Last one we'll touch on is just a little U.S. men's national team effect here with Matt Turner. Initially going to Lyon, which is a pretty big team in France, but they have all kinds of problems, possibly getting relegated down to the second division. That was actually overturned this past week or two, and they're actually able to stay in the first division. They initially bought Matt Turner, but now they're loaning him out to a club here stateside, New England Revolution. I do believe that's where he actually started his MLS career. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully he gets some games over there for the first time in like 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah. Again, this is just kind of a move where we just need him playing before the World Cup. Like, obviously, our keeper position is super in flux at the moment. I mean, we're not even calling in Zach Steffen. We're bringing in a guy from New York
I
City
know,
FC who's
man.
playing
Get
in
him
the
in
Gold
there.
Cup for us. Yeah, like I mean, Steffen played for Manchester City. I know he rode the bench, but he played in like FA Cups and stuff like that. He obviously caught the eye of Manchester City. Like, I mean, why don't you call the guy in? I know like the thing is he did nothing wrong. The only reason he wasn't in this past World Cup was because Greg Berhalter was just like, no, we need to make Matt feel secure, so we're not going to bring you in as competition. Like, I don't give a crap about that. Like, we have roster spots, and you bring in the best players, like top to bottom, best players. But no, I think he did a lot of that because he brought in several MLS guys that I like barely saw the field and like did not contribute at all. But I think it's regardless. I don't know if we've been on the pod saying this or not, but we both feel like even if you're as a goalkeeper, just getting games in is more important than where you're playing, opposed to like a field player. Like if you're playing in Europe or MLS, it's a little different,
Yeah.
just based on the position you play. So good move if he goes back to New England Revolution. We just need him playing games. So hopefully he'll get the start there and start playing some games and getting game ready before the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I think he just needs games. I think peak for peak, he's probably still our best goalkeeper that we have on a roster. Again, unpopular. Still think Stefan, if he's given an opportunity, he might be able to be as good, if not better than him. I definitely think he's better than like a Matt Freeze or somebody like that. But I do think Matt Turner gives us the best shot in goal for now. So until someone kind of rises up and is able to steal that from him, I think he's our number one going forward. So it's a good move, even though the level is, pretty far down from where he was in the Prem and possibly even in League One. But
Right.
yeah, good to see him getting games. But last couple things we'll mention here is I just wanted to throw in Arsenal losing to Tottenham 1-0. First North London derby outside the UK. Only reason I mention this, not because we lost. Obviously, that always sucks to lose to your biggest rivals. But Max Dowman making some noise at 15 years
That's
of age.
crazy, dude.
15 years of age,
15.
bro.
What were you doing at 15, Sam?
Playing
Not
video
playing for
games.
Arsenal, or does he
Yeah,
play for Arsenal or
definitely not.
Tottenham? I don't even know his name. Is it
Arsenal, yes.
Yeah, I figured since you put him in the doc. But yeah, definitely not playing freaking Premier League football.
Dude,
Holy crap.
he absolutely looked like he belonged too. Like the Mora kid that we're talking 16 years old for Mexico at the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Same style of player, same kind of just the style that you see from him, kind of that midfield role where he's just kind of like linking up play. The passes that he was passing, obviously it's a preseason game, so it's not quite like, full on, but like, bro, like the difference in a 15-year-old versus playing with 25 to 30-year-olds is massive by itself. So no matter what kind of game you're playing, if you're throwing in there as a 15-year-old and you're even able to be up to snuff to those guys, is incredibly impressive. So I'm hoping that he makes a couple appearances here in the coming season, maybe in a League Cup or something like that, because he was excited to watch at 15 freaking years old, bro.
15.
Not just making an appearance, bro, like contributing is what's wild to me. But absolutely insane stuff there. So remember the name. In 5 years, he's only going to be 20. So
yeah. Side note.
Crazy.
Side note. This is one of the reasons that I like really love soccer. It's because it's such a technical sport. And so it doesn't matter how old you are, how developed you are, how fast you are. Like obviously there's base level like speed and agility and like actual like physical aspects you need. Cause like if you're like me, like if I ran out there against like a Premier League player, I'd get smoked just based on the fact that like I can't run as fast as them. So obviously baseline you need athleticism in that. But like I think of like Xavi and Iniesta, not super fast like by any means when it comes to a professional athlete, like quicker than the average person, but like what made them so good was they were so technically gifted. And that's just like why these players at such young ages can like play against grown men, is because it's such a technical sport. Like if you can keep the ball, if you can play tactically, like you're smart enough like to play the tactics, and you can find passes and just all the technical ability, you can play at 15 years old. Like by no means are you fully developed at 15. I don't know this kid. Like for all I know, he could be a specimen and look like a 30-year-old out there. But that's just one thing. Like a side note, I just really appreciate about soccer is like it's such a technical sport that like it's kind of like baseball too. Like the physical aspects need to be there, but like if you can just hit the ball 400 feet, like you're gonna come out of high school and go to the majors. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Like it's just can you play the sport at a high level, opposed to like a football or a basketball where you need to develop. So like you got to be a man by the time you hit the pros.
Yeah, definitely. He's already 6 feet tall, which is I feel like pretty
That
tall
helps.
for a little 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But no, his technical ability on the ball and just the touch that he has at 15 is absolutely insane.
That's
again, I keep I keep making these comparisons, but I can't think of anyone else right now in today's game that he reminds me of more than Vitinha. Just super comfortable in tight spaces, can pick out a pass, can get out of those tight spaces if he doesn't have help.
Yeah.
And he's already playing U17s for England, and in 16 appearances, he already scored 11 goals as a midfielder. So, yeah,
Wow.
keep an eye on this kid for sure. And it's absolutely wild. He was born in 2009, bro. Like, does
Bro.
that not sound like
We're
we're a
so
bunch of
old,
old
dude.
uncles now? So,
Have you
yeah.
seen that
But
video floating around of the NBA players saying like what year do you have to be born before to be considered an unk?
yeah, dude, it's
And I
like
just sat there and I
2000.
was yeah, and I was just sitting there like some of them are like, "Oh, 2004," and I'm just like,
I know,
"What?
dude. That's because
What?"
they're all like 18.
Yeah, I know. We're
Crazy,
so old,
but
man. So old.
yeah. One last note on Arsenal. Gyökeres officially making the move this past week and taking on the number 14 shirt. Absolutely iconic shirt there, obviously worn by Thierry Henry. So that's coming with quite a bit of weight there for the Arsenal. Not just from the Arsenal legend, but taking on that shirt. And he'll be expected to bag a lot of goals wearing that number 14. So exciting
Yeah.
stuff for my Arsenal Gunners. Obviously, kind of sucks to lose to Tottenham, but the season right around the corner, I am definitely getting excited for this year. But lastly, we'll just touch on a little Champions League and Europa qualifiers. All my Romanian teams are still in except for one. We
Let's
did
go.
have a team that dropped out of the conference league. But today, my
Bummer.
favorite team, I actually watched them a little bit while we were at work today.
Nice.
We were dominated really both legs, really 75% possession on average for the other team. They had 2 disallowed goals today. The other team did, but then we bagged an overtime 1-0 win.
Let's
So
go.
we're on to the 3rd qualifying round of the Europa League.
Here we go.
So we're rocking and rolling, baby. So and the other 2 teams in Romania also made it to the next round. So we got 3 out of 4 teams still in. So let's go. Let's keep it rolling. So
let's go, Romania. You need to teach me some Romanian chants so I can get in on this motherland.
That chant I was yelling earlier about that camp thing. That was a Romanian chant.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I'll have to play this back and learn it. But that's awesome. We are pro Romania on this podcast. If you guys can't tell, we are. Sammy Boy is true Romanian, and I just tag along for the ride. But anyways, I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. A little bit of a longer episode just because we're long-winded, just trying to fill the time. But we will have, I think, I see all the memes, but they're saying after tonight we don't have a week without football until like February or something like that. So we are, I guess you could say, officially out of the dog days if you count preseason. If you're a diehard, I don't watch too much preseason. But if you are a diehard, we are out of the dog days, and there is football until February. So definitely we'll pick up with the storylines and obviously recapping games as the season starts and stuff like that. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Check us out on all our platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Like and subscribe, review, rate, really helps us out a ton. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.